Welcome back. All right, so let's see. Yesterday the hockey started at 9:30 in the morning. It went till almost 11 o'clock at night. Today the hockey started at 10 in the morning and went till 6:30 in the evening. So how much time is that? Plus all the videos, the power rankings last night, and then all of the trade stuff going on as well. Normally all of this doesn't hit at the same time, so I'm exhausted. So for people who are saying, well, you need to update the Meyer trade video because some of the details aren't exactly what was first reported. Don't care. Nope, nope, nope. I'm not redoing that. Nope, 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 nope. And none of the added details to me change the trade. To me, what's important is Meyer going one way, and the better of the prospects and those draft picks going the other way, and that's really all that's important. All right. So we're going to start off talking about LA and the Rangers. As the late games, honestly, there really wasn't any doubt about who was going to win any of these games once you get into, I'd say, the second period. So we get Quick versus Shesterkin, the Cylon helmets being worn by the Kings as they bring their fantastic third jerseys on the road. Kempe's denied, good start for Igor. The fan chant gets going. One thing I'll say for Ranger fans, Igor's having a down year. Majority of the Ranger fans are supporting him, and I think Igor's going to bounce back. Not only that, his numbers aren't bad. Igor just spoiled people last year with how amazing he was. So I think he can get back there. The shots are 5-2 Kings at 4.5 minutes. The Rangers get a power play. Zibanejad has a shot that's blocked. The fans call one. The referee doesn't, so it stays 5-on-4. That was killed off. No shots on net. Quick turns it over, but he bails himself out. Roy then has a shot that's tipped wide as the Kings press, but the first goal is for the Rangers, and it goes in off Jonathan Quick's pad. It's LaFreniere from Kakko and Hedel at 14 minutes. Keep saying LaFreniere's a bust, I dare you. Same with Kakko. This kid line is something special with the Rangers. Over the last couple weeks, I think it's been their best line. The Kings look to answer. The refs reviewing for a penalty. And yes. So what's interesting is we come back from the commercial and the refs are looking at the play. There were some very upset members of the Kings, especially Arvidsson. And a match penalty was given to Keandre Miller for spitting. So he's out of the game. Now here's where it gets weirder. Both Ryan Carpenter and Braden Schneider are basically stapled to the bench. Can't risk them getting hurt. They're getting sent to the minors. It's all the Patrick Kane stuff. So they're down to 4 defensemen, with Schneider, a capable defenseman, sitting on the bench, didn't play a shift. So they're down to 4D the rest of the game, which had to be some. And I will say this: those 4 defensemen played very well. For anybody who thought Mikkola was just a throw-in and he's not very good coming from St. Louis, watch footage of this game. He was pretty good. So crossbar for Kempe, that's cleared out. Kempe's then denied on his next chance. It's 1-0 Rangers after 1. Second period, 1:37 of that major was left for Miller, and the Rangers finished the kill. Carpenter's first shift was him coming out of the box. So he was put in the box just as the guy who was there until the penalty was done, and I think that was his only shift of the game. I think that was it. Trocheck then scores from Zibanejad at 2:02, so shortly after that power play's done. And that one deflects in off Roy's stick. And then at 3:37, Trocheck gets one from Fox. He just wired it. So that's 3 goals on 7 shots. Notice one went in off Quick's pad, one went off a defenseman's stick. I don't know how much of this is on Quick, but Copley goes in. Rangers look to add another. Trouba has a rush chance that's saved. Schneider still stapled to the bench. Weirdest thing to see a guy dressed, sitting on the bench, knowing he's not going to have a shift. I would imagine Gerard Gallant went to him before the game and said, yeah, so you're not playing. So weird. So Hedel's denied as the Rangers press. The shots are 10-9 for the Rangers with 5 minutes left. With 3:08 left, the Kings get a power play, and they score on it. At 18-12, it's Arvidsson, who may have been the one that got spit on. I didn't pay attention to who got spit on or didn't. Kaliev and Danault with the assists, buries the rebound. There was some complaint that maybe it was a high stick. It was reviewed and very quickly decided it was not a high stick, to which Gerard Gallant answered with, oh, thank you for the explanation. And I agree. Thank you so much. That's not what it's not. I reacted at all. But it's 3-1 for the Rangers after 2. Third period, early jump for the Kings. Trocheck fires one wide on a rush, and then the puck goes the other way. And on a 2-on-1, Roy makes up for that one that deflected in off his stick in the second with a goal from Danault at 1:27. So suddenly it's 3-2. It doesn't stay that way. 2:11 into the period, Panarin makes up for it from Trocheck. And suddenly it's 4-2. They got that 2-goal lead back. Kempe nearly answers. The Rangers would get a power play, and they score on it. It's Zibanejad from Fox and Panarin at 5:26. The Kings would get a power play. It becomes a 4-on-4. Everything's killed off. The Kings get another power play. It becomes a 4-on-4. Everything's killed off. Rinse and repeat. Your final score is 5-2 for the Rangers. They go to 34-17-8 with the win. The Kings drop to 33-20-8 with the loss. Shots in this one, 8-3 LA in the first, 11-10 for the Rangers in the second, 10-7 LA in the third. Final shots, 28-21 for the Kings. Both teams 1 for 4 on the power play. Hits, 19-9 for the Rangers. Quick saves 4 out of 7. Copley saves 12 out of 14. Shesterkin saves 26 out of 28. Very good game for Igor. Good for him. And the Rangers break my losing streak with the jerseys I wear for the previews. So good on them for that. All right, next up, Pittsburgh. So this was kind of a statement game. There will be Bolts fans who will say, hey, they played less than 24 hours before that. I would answer with, hey, they didn't play very well against Detroit either. Vasilevsky kind of bailed them out. So this is back-to-back kind of mediocre games for Tampa Bay here. Not that there's anything to worry about. They're like a million miles ahead of the team behind them in fourth. But it does mean that for the Leafs, gives them a good shot at finishing second, right? So Elliott versus DeSmith, that's their plan. Game 7 in Toronto. Hagel has a rush chance that's blocked. Joseph has a 2-on-1 chance that's held. The shots are 3-0 Penguins at 2 minutes. And then O'Connor, he scores from Pettersson and Petrie at 3 minutes and 20 seconds. So good news for Pittsburgh right out of the gate. A bottom 6 forward with a goal. The first 5 minutes are all Penguins. The shots are 6-0 in their favor. Bolts press at 7 minutes. They don't get shots, but they keep pressuring. And Kucherov fires one high. The Bolts have woken up from a slow start. Then there was a post for Crosby from a sharp angle. Paul had a rush chance that stopped. The rebound's held. And then on a good press, Cirelli has one that just trickles in behind DeSmith. Bogosian with the assist at 16:06. With 2:53 left, the Penguins get a power play. That becomes a 4-on-4. During the 4-on-4, Tampa Bay gets a goal. It's Kucherov from point and Cole at 18:05, so that's during that 4-on-4. Malkin's then denied and close. Everything's killed off. Tampa's up 2-1 after 1. Second period, shots are 2-0 Bolts at 3 minutes. There's a power play for Tampa. That leads to a shorthanded rush for Rust. That's denied. And then what's, I think, the turning point in this game. Out of the box, Malkin, who wasn't happy about the penalty either, he scores on a breakaway. And I think he wasn't happy because I think he knew it was this penalty. I think he knew it was legit. He just wasn't happy he took it. So he scores that from Archibald and Dumoulin at 6:17. I read his lips. He said fudging right, which means he really enjoys eating fudge after the game if he gets a goal. At least that's what I assume he said because I was reading his lips. So the Penguins had some momentum afterwards. The Bolts press. They're kept to the outside. Shots are 9-3 for Pittsburgh with 8.5 minutes left. Yeah, they just took over this game. Bolts have a 3-on-2 that's broken up. The Penguins get a power play, and they score on it. It's Crosby from Gensel and Letang at 15:28. Buried from the side of the net, and then, thank you, Bluger. He gets the second goal of the season. It's been a while. He scores from Pettersson and Petrie at 16:20 as a good press. If they move him at the deadline, I'd like to see him. I'd like to see him in Vancouver. I would. I honestly, I'd like to see him in Vancouver and see what Vancouver could do with him. But at any rate, things get punchy then on a hold by DeSmith. And then Carter would score from Letang at 17:50. So Jeff Carter, one that's been definitely feeling the heat from fans, from media, he gets on the board. So we're getting some goals from players you want. Points from players you want if you're a Pens fan. All Penguins, no chance for Elliott on that one. And then at 18:37, Zucker scores from Malkin. These are just fast and furious. It's all pressure, all Penguins. And then with 5 seconds left, Dumoulin gets his first in 100 games. Crosby with the assist at 19:55. So that's a lot of goals in a second period. To the point where I didn't realize that was a 7th goal until the start of the third, where I'm looking at the score. I'm like, holy, yeah, that's right too. The scores. So yeah, that's how crazy it was. So Elliott's still in because Vasilevsky played last night to start the third. The Bolts had the lone shot on net 3.5 minutes in. They would end up getting a power play. They score on it. It was a good cycle. Buried point gets that one from Kucherov and Sergachev at 7:57. It's just kind of, I can't say to save face, but it makes the score a little bit better. In the end, your final score is 7-3. Pittsburgh goes to 29-21-9 on the season. Tampa Bay's 37-18-4. Huge 2 points for Pittsburgh, though, because they know Buffalo got 2 points, and they know that other teams that they're competing with are getting points. And they also have games in hand on some of the other teams they're chasing, like the New York Islanders. So the shots in this one: 10-8 Pittsburgh in the first, 19-9 Pittsburgh in the second, 12-7 Tampa in the third. Final shots 36-29 for Pittsburgh. Power plays: Tampa Bay 1 for 3, Pittsburgh 1 for 2. The hits 32-28 for Pittsburgh. Elliott saves 29 out of 36. DeSmith saves 26 out of 29. So, yeah, really, really good game for Pittsburgh. And, yeah, we'll see what they do from here. Next up, Nashville and Arizona. So, Nashville gets a bit of a hit, right? They lose Nino Niederreiter. He gets traded to Winnipeg. And then, before this game, it's announced that Tanner Jeannot's being held out for trade reasons, and he's been apparently connected to Tampa, according to Elliot Friedman. So, it has to be tough to have two of your top 9 forwards out. I'm also kind of surprised Jeannot's on the market, to be honest. Jeannot's not playing as well as he did last year. Agreed. Yep, it's been a bit of a down year. But he's a good forward who can hit and who can score. And last I checked, those guys are rare. So, yeah. David Poile, who announced today that he's stepping down, I did see that. I'm going to do a video on that tomorrow because I feel like that deserves to be its own video, that it shouldn't just be like a blurb in a video. So I'm going to do a video on that tomorrow and on what the plan's going to be and on Poile's career. But I think if they trade Jeannot, unless they get a lot back, unless they get something really good back, I think that could end up being a mistake. At any rate, the shots are 2-1 Nashville at 2.5 minutes against Arizona, wearing their beautiful third jerseys with the cactus leg on the shorts. And I know they're breezers, but I like to say shorts because people are like, what? Yeah, they're short pants. So at any rate, the cactus leg is out there. And if you watch the game on TV, you know why I say that, because that's all you can see. It's just red, and then there's a cactus on the side of your leg. So there's a power play for Nashville. That leads to a shorthanded goal for Arizona. Goss to spare. On a rush from end to end, Schmaltz and Hayden with the assists at 5:55. The Coyotes then finish the kill, so it's a good start. But at 9:02, Trennan gets that from Tomasino and Sissons. They reviewed this one to see if it was a kick. It's not. It counts. Coyotes press with 9.5 minutes left, but Duchesne would put Nashville in the lead. He scores from Glass and Carrier at 13:48 with 1:57 left. The Coyotes get a power play. 48 seconds left. It becomes a 5-on-3. And so in the second period, it is up to the Preds and Saros to complete the kill, which they do. And then at 2:39, not long after all that's done, Yossi scores from Novak. So nice one there. Granlund nearly adds another. The shots are 3-2 for the Coyotes at 4.5 minutes. And then Schmaltz, he gets them a goal closer. He scores from Keller and Hayden at 7:27. Glass is denied as the Preds try to respond. Power play for the Coyotes. A shorthanded Granlund chance is fired wide. That power play's killed off. O'Brien misses one wide on a net drive. He would, towards the end of this game, get a 10-minute misconduct for something naughty, he said to the officials. Fisher has a 2-on-1 chance that's held. It should be that. 10 minutes for being naughty. No Pred shots in the final 9 minutes. They didn't really need them, so you save them for the third period, I guess. So the Coyotes press at 3 minutes, and to this point, still no shots for Nashville. And then they suddenly get 3, and the third one goes in. At 3:28, it's Novak from Granlund to Duchesne on the rebound with what had been the first shots of the second or of the third period for Nashville. Preds then look for another. They end up getting a power play. Now, this goal may change. It may be Granlund's goal. I think it was Granlund in front who may have tipped it in. But at the time I put this together, Yossi's got the goal. He's credited for it from Novak and Duchesne at 6:02. Good cycle, and he wires it. The Coyotes then go to the power play. That's killed off. There's another Coyotes power play. That becomes a 4-on-4. During the power play that followed, Nashville scores. It's Glass from Granlund and Yossi at 18:17. And this is where O'Brien said something to the official, and his night was over. So your final score is 6-2 in favor of the Nashville Predators. They go to 29, 22, and 6 for the Coyotes, 20, 30, and 9. So they've started to fall again. Shots in this one: 12-10 Nashville in the first, 9-8 Arizona in the second, 14-9 Nashville in the third. Final shots: 34-28 for the Preds. Power plays: Nashville 2 for 3, Arizona 0 for 5. The hits: 26-21 for Arizona. Saros saves 26 out of 28. Ingram saves 28 out of 34. And yeah, this is kind of an expected result. But again, remember, Nashville's lost a couple of pretty big players for them, and they came out and they had a gutsy performance. So they didn't get distracted. They didn't let it ruin their performance. And Nashville's still in the hunt. They are not out of the hunt. So while it looks like they're selling off, the fact is they're still right there when it comes to playoff consideration, especially with a team like Seattle potentially falling. So Seattle at home against Toronto, and now all of a sudden Seattle finds themselves in a wild card spot. So this is an awkward thing here, where Seattle, who've looked home and cooled when it comes to the playoffs for a long time, I don't know. Maybe they are going to end up falling below the line. And as the announcer said during this game, now the expectations are higher for Seattle. Now Ron Francis kind of has to do something. So it's Samsonov versus Grubauer in this one. Early jump for the Leafs, but they didn't get any shots early on in this. So on the third shot that Seattle gets, Dunn scores from Eberle and McCann at 3:47. The Leafs didn't have shots on net at this point. They were getting zone time. Kraken nearly had another. The Leafs were having turnover issues, but Giordano would answer. Former Seattle legend and captain Mark Giordano answers from Liljegren and Nylander at 4:58. That was 5-hole through a screen, and it's the first shot on net. So for Grubauer, a rough start there. Riley then has a shot that's held. Marner has a net feed that's held. We get some pushing, and then I'm looking underneath. Tavares scores from Nylander and Hall at 7:06. That makes it 2-1 for Toronto. And then Beniers has a turnover chance that's saved. Donato has a shot that's kicked aside. Larson blocks an Engvall chance. So Seattle doing what they can to try to get back into this. But Liljegren would score from Matthews at 12:51. Then the Leafs get a power play. Tavares nearly buries one. That power play's killed off. 4 shots for Toronto on that power play. So after the first, it's 3-1 in favor of the Leafs. Second period, turnovers, again, by the Leafs early in this period. So it's something they'll have to clean up, I would think, going into their next game. Shots are 3-0 for the Kraken at 3.5 minutes, but at 4:13, batted out of midair, Austin Matthews gets one from Marner and Bunting. So for Matthews, that's his first goal of the night. Don't cheat, don't look ahead. And yeah, Jones is in the net now. That's the end of the night for Grubauer. I don't know how many of those Grubauer was supposed to save, but yeah, Jones goes into the net. And then Giordano becomes number 1 all-time in block shots. So there's the debate about how important that mark is. I will say this. I know it's only been tracked since 05-06, and there's guys who've been blocking shots for as long as the NHL's been around. But it's still an accomplishment. As much as we may want to say, well, you can't really, it's not really, it's still an accomplishment. So, kudos to him for being number 1 on the list since we started tracking block shots. And, I'm not saying there should be ceremonies and a pennant going up or anything, but you have to acknowledge he's blocked a ton of shots. So there's a power play for Seattle. McCann fires one wide, and his next opportunity hit the side of the net. That power play's killed off. 2 shots for Seattle. There's a press by the Leafs at the half. Matthews to Bunting, near miss there, or else Bunting would have buried that. Wenberg's denied on a one-timer. The Kraken press with 3.5 minutes left. There was more pressure by Seattle in the final minute and a half, but it's 4-1 in favor of Toronto after 2. But we know Seattle can score in bunches, so doesn't necessarily mean this game's over. We go to the third period. Post for Marner in the opening shift. The Kraken press at 3.5 minutes. 6.5 minutes in, the shots are 3 apiece. So Toronto's doing a good job of suppressing the shots against at that point. Power play for Seattle. Schwartz was denied. Samsonov holds. Gord can't bury one. And then after the kill's done, Toronto adds one. At 12:31, it's Matthews from Marner and Bunting, as Marner once again shows why I think he's the most valuable player to Toronto. I've said that for years. That isn't something I've said just this year. I've said it for years. He knows how to set up goals. Nylander was then denied from the slot, and Toronto ends up winning this one going away, 5-1. They go to 37-15-8 with the win. Again, looking at Tampa Bay, they now have the 4-point lead on Tampa. For Seattle, 32-21-6, and they have to be concerned about their standing overall right now. Shots in this one, 20-7 Toronto in the first, 15-4 Seattle in the second, and 9-5 Toronto in the third. Final shots, 33-27 for the Leafs. Power plays, Toronto 0 for 1, Seattle 0 for 2, so special teams really didn't play into this. Hits, 22-10 for Seattle. Samsonov, good game for him, 26 saves on 27 shots. Grubauer saves 17 out of 21. Martin Jones saves 11 out of 12 in relief. So there you go. You guys are all caught up on the weekend. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.